2024 is going to be the easiest year ever in human history for you to get a girlfriend. And in this video, I'm going to give you a full step-by-step guide, an actionable game plan that you can actually go out and implement so that by the end of 2024, you can end it with the girl of your dreams. 55% of men have not approached a girl in the last year, and over a third of men have not had sex in the last year. Last year, 2023, what did you do this past year? Genuinely ask yourself, did you do everything you possibly can in your dating life? How many dates did you really go on? How many quality women did you actually spend time with? For most of you, you started off, 2023 was coming around, you're like, this year will be different. I'll be better. I'll be able to get girls this time. And you wasted the entire year. The number one most important thing that I see with guys that I work with who are struggling with dating is that they never fully commit to making dating a priority. So mentally, in your mind, make the commitment that 2024 is going to be the year that you finally solve your dating life. Otherwise, the 3-step action plan that I'm going to give you will be totally worthless. Now, regardless if you want to meet women on Instagram, dating apps, or in person, this 3-step game plan is going to show you exactly how to master each of these different avenues. The first thing you need to understand is that dating at the end of the day is sales and marketing. It is the original sales and marketing funnel. There are only ever 2 problems in your dating life. You either have a leads problem, meaning you're not meeting enough women. You don't have enough volume of women to generate the type of abundance that you'd like. And I'm going to show you how to solve that in just a second. The second problem is you have a conversion problem. Maybe you are meeting women, but this is really referring to your game, right? When you go out on a date with a girl, or when you approach a girl, or when you text a girl, you don't know how to convert that interaction into a date, or into a second date, or into your girlfriend. So the 3-step action plan caters to both of these problems. Now, step 1 consists of generating leads for you, meaning we want to maximize the number of women you're meeting on any given week. So the way we do this is 3 different ways. We do this through dating apps, we do this through Instagram, and we do this through in-person approach. When I regularly work with clients, most dating issues in 99% of guys' lives is really that they're just not meeting enough women. Well, how many women are you meeting? How many matches are you getting per day? How many women are you approaching throughout the week? If you're not meeting enough women, no matter what you do, you're not going to get the types of dates and freedoms and abundance you want. The thing you need to understand is that dating is by design a low conversion game, meaning you will never ever, I don't care who you are, you could be James Bond, 6'4", 6-pack abs, whatever you want, you will never convert 100% of the girls you meet. You need more volume. Now, the reason I recommend 3 different ways for generating leads is because each one has its costs and its benefits. For example, in-person approaching is the easiest one to get results with on your own because 55% of men have not approached a woman in the last year. That means women are getting approached less and less than ever. Simply having the balls and courage to go up to a girl and be a little bit normal is enough to get you phone numbers, and those phone numbers you can turn into dates in step 2 when we work on your text game. Recent studies have shown that over 75% of women aged 18 to 30 wish that they were approached more. And if you've seen any of my recent videos in interviews, you would know that women prefer to meet men in person than dating apps because when you're meeting a woman in person, you're creating this movie scene experience for the girl. It's spontaneous. It also is easier for you as a man to stand out, even if you're not the most high value guy. Because even if you are high value, who do you think she's gonna value more? The guy who randomly approached her at Starbucks? The only guy who approached her in the last 6 months? Or guy number 239 on Tinder that you met with on a dating app that she can easily replace with a few swipes? So in-person is a great way to meet women. If you're not approaching women right now, you have to start doing it. I'm not saying go to the mall and spend 7 hours a day approaching girls. Most guys just don't have time for that. What I am saying, though, is that the women you see in your day-to-day life, at the gym, at the coffee shop, on your way to work, these are opportunities that are right in front of you that don't take any more of your time, so it can be very, very efficient. Now, if you want to get serious about this skill set, it can be important to spend an hour or 2 going out and doing approaches somewhere so you can build that skill, but that's beyond the scope of the video, and if you want help with approaching, you can check the links in the description for some of my resources on that. Now, when it comes to dating apps can be very useful because they don't require much time. You can passively swipe, you can pay to win, you can buy boosts, you can buy the premium version so that you rank higher in the algorithm and you're getting likes without you actually having to do anything. It's software. Anytime we're using software, it automates and simplifies the process for us. That being said, it is low barrier to entry, meaning any guy can sign up for a dating app and go and do it. It doesn't require courage, it doesn't require balls, it doesn't require social skills. Because of that, there is unlimited competition. Now, all of that being said, the simplest way to get more matches on dating apps is to simply download more dating apps. I recommend every single guy download Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble. If you're on 3 different dating apps, you have active profiles on all of them. Let's say you only match with 1 out of every 10 girls on Tinder. Well, if you use that same profile on Bumble and Hinge and you have the same conversion rate, well, now you just went from 1 match a day to 3 matches a day just by increasing the number of apps you're on. That being said, you also want to experiment with which app is going to perform best for you. The reason for this is that Hinge has a different pool of women, Bumble has a different pool of women, Tinder has a different pool of women. The way you set up your profile is totally different. So in my private consulting and in my private coaching with clients, it's very regular that clients will find 1 or 2 apps are working better than the others, and then you double down on that app. Hinge is typically the easiest one to get results with because it's prompt-based, so it makes it a little bit less emphasized on looks. However, if you're struggling with dating apps right now, it's a leads issue. When girls see your profile, they're not swiping on it. It's not because you're shadow banned, that's just bullshit coke. The algorithms are very fair. If you make a good profile, you will get swiped on. It is based on how many women are swiping on you. So if your photos aren't getting results, it means that you need to upgrade your profile and your bios. In terms of the photos that are going to get you the most results, you want a clear headshot, a shot that shows your face and exactly what you look like. Nothing off to the side. Straight headshot of what you look like. You want a full body shot so the girl sees what your body looks like. She's going to want to see what you look like in different environments. Women are imaginative creatures. The imagination of who you might be and how the first date may go is what's going to intrigue her and get her to agree to the first date in the first place. So our profile and the photos on it are intended to stimulate and help her create that imaginary reality of who you are. So we want to show her us in as many different lights as possible. So get as many photos as possible, showing you in different angles and positions. That's going to contribute to that imagination and make her more likely to swipe right on you. Now, as far as bios goes, the most important thing about your bio is the first prompt or the first sentence that the girl sees. That is going to have the biggest impact on her swipe behavior. In the data and the testing we've done with our clients, switching the first line of the bio is always the most important. Typically, short and punchy bios are better, but we want bios and prompts that entice the girl to create a response. We don't want anything too gimmicky or cheesy, but we want to create a bio that makes the girl interested and wants to respond. So we want to keep it open-ended. Now, I know my advice in bios has been a bit generic because it's such a personalized thing that is different for each and every guy because you want a custom bio that's going to stand out. So if you want more help with your bio, just check out my free courses in the description or just apply to work with me directly and we'll build your bio together. Now, as far as Instagram goes, Instagram is great because you can connect with women in your city by simply typing in popular location where you know attractive women tend to hang out. You DM them there, and this way it becomes an easy way for you to meet women on another platform. It basically becomes another dating app. However, just like dating apps, you need very, very good photos. Getting good photos of yourself, finding a photographer who can get you the right types of photos, knowing how to pose in the photos. All of this stuff is very difficult, and that's why I recommend if you're a beginner and you're on your own, it's easier to get results with in-person approaching than it is on dating apps because dating apps are the most competitive. You're playing at the most competitive game. It's going to be harder unless you have some sort of competitive advantage to get mega great results. Whereas with in-person approaching, there's so little competition. Even if you're mediocre at best, you can still get better results than you probably would on the dating apps. And in fact, this is the precise reason why so many of my private clients come to me for coaching on dating apps, because we have so much data from working with clients over the years on exactly what type of photos work, bios, messages, etc. Now, the other benefit of Instagram is that it plugs in with each of these methods, meaning Instagram is like your CRM. It's where you manage all of your leads. You meet a girl on a dating app, you move her to your Instagram so you have her in that place and you can follow up with her over the long term. Maybe you can't get her out on a date today, tomorrow, or this week, but you follow each other on Instagram, you build up some momentum, some rapport, some familiarity. You can get her out on a date 2 months from now or 3 months from now, especially if you're living in a city long term, you're staying in the same place. The momentum of meeting women and moving them to your Instagram over time builds up, and the likelihood that you see a girl goes up over time as well, which is why Instagram is important. It's better to get Instagrams versus phone numbers. The same thing applies with in-person approaching. If you approach a girl and maybe your interaction isn't super great because you're still a beginner, your Instagram profile, if it's properly dialed in, you have good photos on there, that is going to replace that bad first impression you made with the girl. It's going to show and display lots of value, and it'll make the girl more interested. It, again, makes it simpler than having to text text 12 individual girls that you met on apps and approach and follow up with all of them on your messages. You can reply to each other's stories. It's easier and more natural and organic to start conversations. And the more natural you can make a process feel for a girl, the better. This is why women prefer in-person over dating apps, because it just doesn't feel supernatural. It feels gimmicky, it feels transactional. And because of that, women tend to associate dating apps with a worse reputation. Now, once you're generating leads from dating apps, Instagram, and in-person approaching, it's all about converting these leads, and that's where step 2 comes in. Texting. Texting is the most important dating skill, because no matter how good you are in person, no matter how good your profile is, if you don't know how to text a girl, what text messages to send, how to ask for the date without getting flaked on, what to do when she stops replying, then you'll never get her out on a date. The text conversation determines whether she says yes to the date invitation. It is basically your audition. Texting is what women use as their filter to determine which guy they're going to go on a date with versus the ones they're going to start ignoring and reject. Now, as far as texting goes, if you're on a dating app or whether you're in person, my advice to clients all the time is to simply go for the date as soon as possible. Now, there's a caveat there. There's a balance between building momentum, getting to know the girl, and having a little bit of small talk, and also getting the date. If you're on a dating app, you want to go for the date as soon as possible, because a dating app is high stimulation and high competition, so you're very likely to lose the girl. She'll get more matches, she'll get more messages in her inbox. You're more likely to lose the girl in that process. So it's better to go for the date while you have her attention right then and there and capitalize on the momentum that you have. The other thing is, when you meet a girl in person, there's not a ton to have small talk about. Yes, you may have talked for 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes. You can talk about a little bit what you guys discussed in person. But again, we want to capitalize on that momentum. I've made tons of videos on texting, and it's a topic I can talk about for hours. I actually have a free texting course in my bio that you can go through. It's 100% free. It gives you the 3 best openers you can use on dating apps, and it walks you through my texting philosophy. But the simplest thing is to go for the date as soon as possible without coming off as thirsty or needy. And if the girl rejects the date or she seems uncertain, at that point you can build a little bit more trust and comfort, have a little bit of small talk, and then go for the date at a later time. However, more women than not are going to agree to the date pretty early on if you play your cards right, if your profile was set up correctly, and if your in-person approach was done right. Now, the whole purpose of texting, especially in the early stages of courtship, is really to get the girl on the first date, to get her face-to-face on a date so that you can actually start building a connection and see if you guys are compatible and you're for the right fit to potentially start a relationship with. Texting needs to get you on that first date. That's the only purpose of it. If it's building you momentum to get to that first date, that's fine. If it's building trust to get you to that first date, that's fine. But once we're on the first date, this is where things are really important, because a lot of guys fuck up the first date, and that's actually step 3, converting the date. The first date is going to determine whether you get a second and a third date, and those dates, your ability to perform and execute on dates, is going to determine whether or not she becomes your girlfriend. Because after she has a great first date with you, she's going to want a second, she's going to want a third, and then the relationship will naturally evolve until potentially the option is on the table where she's chasing you down to be your girlfriend. First dates are simple. Let her do 80% of the talking, maintain strong eye contact, physically escalate throughout the date, hold hands with her, put your arm around her, playfully touch her, put your arm around her and pull her in, maybe you're cuddling a little bit, hold hands while you're walking down the street, etc. If you don't physically escalate, it's not a date. If you're over the age of 18, you must be escalating in some way on a first date. Doesn't mean you need to sleep with her, but you need to make your intentions clear that you viewed her as a romantic partner, and this is a romantic interaction. The other thing that nobody will tell you is that you don't want to try hard to impress the girl on the date. In fact, most guys go on the date and they try hard to impress her, and then the girl ends up sitting there listening to the guy talk about himself the whole time. She doesn't really get any words in, and it's just the same movie she's watched again and again. Don't try hard to impress her. Take a genuine interest and curiosity in her so that she feels that there's a connection being built. Imagine I talked at you for an hour straight. Would you feel like we have a connection? Absolutely not, because I know nothing about you. You had no opportunities to open up and be vulnerable. So thus, you really just got lectured and monologued at for an hour. There's no connection there. We want to just be normal. Most guys fuck up the date because they're in scarcity. They don't have enough leads. But because you followed step 1, you're not in scarcity anymore. You're okay with going on the date and actually seeing if she's the right fit for you. The date is really like a job interview. You're hiring for the potential role of your girlfriend. You need to be willing to disqualify the wrong applicant, disqualify a girl who's not the right fit for you. So the frame of the date really needs to be that you're interested and you want to learn more, but you are not sold on her quite yet. If you go into it with that understanding, the date will flow a lot more naturally. Be okay if there's a little bit of a silence. Don't rush to fill it. Just maintain eye contact, smile, start another conversation. Don't try hard to impress her because you'll end up being like every other guy. It'll be cringe and it's not going to win her over. Once you have first dates locked down, second and third dates become easier, and then you can easily turn her into your girlfriend. But for most of you watching this, your biggest issue is step one, which is generating leads. So make sure you focus on that because it'll make every step in the process a lot simpler. Now, if you struggle with any step in this process, whether it's texting, dating apps, in-person, or first dates, then apply to work with me inside my private coaching program, because this is the exact step-by-step process we do and we execute for our clients in there. And it's the reason I know this so in depth, and it's the reason we're able to get guys results so fast. We will personally build your dating app profiles for you, build your Instagram profiles for you, and give you our entire copy-paste database, our full vault of text messages for you to use on dating apps, after your approaches, and for first dates. We even give you our entire formula for running first dates, including real-life breakdowns of me going on first dates, students going on first dates, and exactly what to say and how to run them so that you can get success. We also give you access to over 25 real-life breakdowns of me going out and executing approaches, and we'll build you a custom game plan for approaching women in your city so that you can meet them and actually start developing relationships with them. Fair warning, the private coaching program is not cheap, but we are running a discount for the new year. This is the only time we'll run a discount. Any guy who joins within the next week will get $1,000 off the private coaching program. So if you want to learn more about that, click the first link in the description. I also just released my full in-depth approach course. So if you just want to work on approaching and you're a guy on a budget, you can check that out. There's also a bunch of free resources in there. Make sure you check those out if you want to make 2024 the best year of your dating life.